toss it.
This is a question for each of you. Sauce it or toss it. Arash.
Yes.
Sauce it or toss it. Hiring Mike Babcock to wait tables at Pomegranate in the summer.
Oh, in the summer?
Yeah.
Sauce it.
Really?
Yeah, because I would love him to like stick snotty tourists where they needed to be, like grabbing their phones, being like, "So, you went up Corey Rock, eh? You took this photo, just to let you know your calves, they don't look that great." And I'd be like, "This man's the greatest employee I've ever had."
Pomegranate closed.
So let me get this straight: you're preaching health and fitness, but you went and did the hike, and now you're gonna go eat 2 donuts. What kind of standard are you setting for the rest of your team?
Gita, sauce or toss it. Hiring Arash. Hiring
me.
Arash.
Hire me, please.
Hiring Mike Babcock to babysit Rowan.
Ooh, toss it.
What are your main worries about leaving Rowan alone for 90 minutes with Babs?
I don't want him to make my boy make a list.
Yeah. Okay, Rowan, I'm going to need you to write all your favorite Bluey characters on this sheet. Okay.
Why don't you write down Mom and Dad's work ethic and rank them 1 through 2? This is just between you and me. Hey, hand over that Fisher-Price phone. Let's see what you got on there.
Oh, Fred Flintstone. That's good.
I feel like he would mess up a kid real good.
Oh, my God.
Sauce it or toss it, Arash. Vasily Podkolzin playing big zero NHL games in 2023-2024.
I mean, I'm going to toss it because of injuries, but it was a kind of a talk we had with Brendan in the chat, just talking about Niels Höglander and Vasily Podkolzin, where I don't know what Pods wants to be, and it's giving me Jimmy Vesey vibes, where it's the same, like, can you score at this level consistently? I don't know. Can you check at an elite level in terms of like defensive zone coverage and retrievals and all this stuff? I don't know. Like, what does Vasily Podkolzin want to be? And the problem with Vasily is that he gets in his head, he tries too hard, and then he gets frustrated, and his rate of play stagnates. Now, Niels Höglander, in that the one benefit for the Calgary game, he goes and he's on the forecheck and he nails Dennis Gilbert and injures him, and you're like, oh, well, okay, well, he's a 5'9" Swedish guy who's got a little bit of a pest, like little bit of a handsome rat thing going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he can maybe find a niche, and hopefully his offensive game figures out. But for Vasily, I don't know. I think a lot of people are just kind of waiting to see, like, what do you want to be at this level?
Totally.
And I think it's better to have him in the A, where he can find that answer, I think, easier than trying to tread water in the NHL. But he's going to have NHL games played.
A big toss from Big Arash. Gita, a team very significant previously in your heart and now currently in Arash's heart. Gita, sauce it or toss it. The Ottawa Senators will make the playoffs.
Sauce it.
Yeah.
I think they have some pretty solid pieces in place to make a push this season.
Vladimir Tarasenko on a 1-year show-me deal.
They've slowly been adding, like, quality. They're not going to get pushed around.
They're kind of like Vegas, where it's like they keep trading or acquiring everybody. And you're like, I didn't know you could do that.
Patrick Kane? Like, in Ottawa?
Oh,
okay.
my. Follow-up question here. Also, they'll have... they might have a Drake Batherson-sized hole to fill in the coming months, but
okay,
we'll see. Sauce it or toss it, Arash. Patrick Kane signing with a Canadian team.
I mean, I'd sauce it just because, like, I think it would be so funny if he signs in Toronto, and for like 2 months we're like,
oh, that's really funny, because I looked at that and I was like, oh yeah, obviously he's going to Montreal. They love people like that.
It's like if Patrick Kane signs in Toronto, I can just assume, like, the articles will be like, does Patrick Kane signing in Toronto lock the Hart Trophy for Austin Matthews? Like, just something like that, where it's like, oh,
yeah,
it's a surefire thing. First number 1 PP is Tavares, Marner, Matthews, Nylander, Kane, I'm missing.
No goalie,
Wait,
Willie.
No
they're
goalie.
not. They're not gonna sign Stamkos, right?
No, that's
Or
next
are
year.
they?
They're bringing him home. Finally,
Yeah, that's,
they
that's
missed
what
it.
I assume. I heard he wants to play 20 years. He's got 5 more years left.
That's
He's not under contract. Why would he not want to retire in Toronto? He looks great in blue and slightly
he
white-ish.
he wouldn't have to change his gear.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to change. I would love if Toronto turned into like, there's those segments in New York in like 2000, 2001, and 2002 where like Lindros and Burry, like the old Hall of Famers, would go and like retire.
Yeah,
in New
yeah.
York. Man, I'd love if Toronto just became what they like. Even Toronto at that point when they had like Gary Roberts,
They did the same thing.
They did the same thing. I would love that in Toronto again, where it's like memory lane stuff.
It's just a shame that they're getting paid like the NHL league minimum instead of these inflated, insane contracts from 20 years ago.
That is true.
But I digress.
Oh, can we go back to Ottawa? They also have new ownership. They have stability finally.
Michael and Lauer.
Those Melnick daughters made like $1 billion.
Dude, good for them. Just make that money. Make that.
That was such an anticlimactic announcement too. We went from like Ryan Reynolds and then
Snoop Dogg.
The Weeknd. And then you're just like, oh, you're just like a regular Canadian.
Well, the NHL
who's
went
a
with,
Leafs fan.
the NHL went with the boring white rich guy.
The boring white rich guy, and like who else is on? It's like, wait a minute, the guy who owns the diner in Gilmore Girls? What is that? It's fall. My Katie's watching Gilmore Girls.
Kita, sauce it or toss it. There were recently some preseason games down in Australia. Sauce it or toss it. The NHL down under.
I mean, I sauce it for the Aussies. They seem to love it.
They showed up hard.
Yeah.
I went to a wedding in Nova Scotia in the summer, and one of the Amanda's relatives, I can't remember the exact relation.
Oh, he's in the doghouse now.
An uncle.
Second cousin. It's always a second cousin.
Second cousin.
I think so. I think it was an uncle. But they live in Australia now, and he was up here with filling his second suitcase full of referees' pants because they were so hard to come by as he referees men's league down there. But
aren't those just black pants?
I think they're like fancy, slightly padded, like skating pants. But it is it's a thriving fan base down there. We've always had a lot of very respectful and very generous Australian listeners on this show. So I'm all for it, and
it's better ice than sunrise.
I mean, we else having fun. He was doing great.
Sauce it or toss it or rash. A World Cup of Hockey held in the month of February.
Oh my God! Yes, please, God. Oh my God! No more I never want to see another All-Star game. Just give me a best on best tourney. Like, dude, just best on best tourney. Like, whatever crazy formats, and the winner. I don't know. Everyone. The winning. Every player who's on a winning team goes back to their NHL team, and that team gets like an extra like $500K in cap space as a bonus.
Oh my God!
Just something wacky.
Sign me up.
I would love just wacky rules, man. Like that would be. Could you imagine an entire team is like, listen, we're gonna have an entire team of Czech players, and if they win, we have like a bonus of like $14 million. Like, could just imagine the wacky things they could do with it. They'd be like, oh.
I mean, the way the Canucks are accumulating American players, if they would finally be out of cap hell, and they would spend it on Taylor Hall or something.
Yeah, they would.
Gita, sauce it or toss it. There should be 3 NHL preseason games.
As opposed to, what are they now?
6 or 7.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say I thought it had gotten out of hand. Like I thought it went from like 5 seemed normal to like now you're playing 2 simultaneously.
The split squad, yeah.
That's what I assumed had happened. But no, 3 is great. You're playing just people who are probably going to be on your team or who are on the bubble.